You up with that? Okay. Right, recommendations from the Regional Planning Committee. Any questions on those recommendations? No questions? You're happy to move, Councillor Rose? You have a question, Councillor Rem, as well? Or just... Okay, seconded. You wish to speak?
Just really to reiterate the same as the previous committee, Mr Chairman, it was a fulsome debate and robust discussion, and this paper reflects accurately the recommendations that were passed by the committee, and to my knowledge nothing has changed since the committee stages, so I'm happy to move the paper as it stands, Mr Chairman.
Mr Chair, I can't vote for this particular paper, which includes the developments in the Tāhurua Mohaka, because of the fact that it's not dealing in a timely way with the problems of intensification of nitrification of the rivers there, which is a real problem. And the fact that rather than taking action now, this council has opted to go with more consultation and putting off any decision-making in dealing with that catchment is in my opinion, a real wasted opportunity, and it's just going to result in the river getting worse before it gets better, so I can't support this recommendation.
I'll take an opportunity to speak again, Councillor. Thank you. The reality is in that catchment, the nitrate levels are on the decline. Quite simply, if I could put it quite simply, the opportunity for more consultation is these people who farm in that area have made a whole lot of spending adjustments to riparian fencing / planting, which is expensive. They've willingly put their money into tidying up the issues around nitrates, and we are seeing some effects, and it's encouraging. Consultation is around how can we further leverage benefit in a timely manner. If this was to go through a plan change to force a level of regulation that might have some benefit down the track, we'd probably be spending a lot of money in the courts for many years and actually going nowhere, because when that litigation was underway, or that level of consultation was underway, the farming community are going to be very reluctant to spend any money on remediation, which is what they're doing right now. So I think it's a complex issue, and it's very important. I agree with that, absolutely. But let's just keep making this progress as we are at the moment before we get to that final place.
Mr Chair, just along the same lines, I have noticed and had feedback from the Māori members that they now understand the complexity of those sort of situations, and they had no idea before coming to the table. So that's one of the positive things that's coming out of it.
Mr Chairman, I would like to exercise my right to speak. Thank you, and I'm disappointed that anyone on this council can suggest there's been no action. I think it's very insulting to the amount of work and the goodwill.
There was no suggestion that there's been no action, so
I think there was a statement that there was no action, that we are not taking action on this.
That wasn't how I heard it, but
Mr Chairman, the amount of work that has gone into this catchment and the cooperative work that has gone on in bringing about change is immense. We cannot afford to turn back the clock on that work. If we're going to bring about change, we'll bring about change by getting people on board, not through litigation. And no solution other than the cooperative one that has been put forward, no solution has been come up with that would find acceptance by the whole community.
Yeah, Mr Chairman, to put it in context, I do have a certain sympathy with Councillor Rem as well, because in 1978 Sam Robinson was elected to the Catchment Board and as a youthful, keen, enthusiastic 20-year-old, he ruled all over the place, looking at what was going on. One of the many sessions I had with him as his neighbour was coming back from Lochinvar Station and saying, "Oh, that country up there, it's like Pumbaa's company, it shouldn't even be farmed, blah, blah, blah." So that's 30 or 40 years ago. This council, previous incarnation, was aware that that country was very marginal and it probably should never have been farmed. So we are now actually, to give Councillor Rimswell credit, in some small measure, we are bolting the stable door 40 years after the horse bolted. So it's good that we're finally solving the problem. But the lesson there is that let's look ahead 30 or 40 years like we're meant to as an environmental agency and make sure that people do not farm country that should never be farmed, so we don't have to spend millions of dollars and years fixing up a problem that would have never occurred had we been more vigilant in the past.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I mean, the short answer to that, of course, we did not have the legal ability or power to restrict farming. It was a permitted activity, and the people who farmed that land did so and are doing so quite legally. And it would have needed to be a central government decision, not a regional council decision, to have prohibited it. I just draw to the council's attention that there was an amendment moved at the committee stages along the lines that Councillor Rimswell outlined in her debate this morning. So it was aired at the committee stage, and it was supported by a minority of the committee, Mr. Chairman, and the significant recommendation was passed quite strongly. I endorse the work that's been being done by the staff in the consultative manner in the Taharua. It's an extraordinary difficult problem, and no one should pretend that it's not that. And I do believe that the approach that staff are taking, although it may be painful and though it may be exasperating to some people, I believe will produce the best result. And this is what we're looking for. We're looking for the best result, not just simply a result. And I think that indeed the staff are worthy of support for what they're proposing in these papers. So I'm happy to move the recommendation, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I'll put that motion in. All those in favour, please say aye. Contrary, no. And another division. Okay. All those in favour, raise your hand. And against.
Point of clarification, Mr. Chairman, the Town and Country Planning Act of 19-something or other gave the Minister permission to regulate land use, so I dispute Councillor Rose's.
I'm sure you do, Councillor. Now,
Point of clarification, the council did issue resource consents, which allowed that.
we understand all this. Order, everyone, please. Come on, next item.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, I was trying to get into... I was abstaining because I wasn't at the meeting. Minor matter, I know, but... I didn't exist at that stage, so I can't vote.
Well, you can vote on... This is a new discussion, so I'm... Yeah, so you can vote. No, not the minutes. These are not the minutes. These are recommendations from... Sorry, excuse me. These are recommendations from previous discussions. It gives us an opportunity to double debate, which is what's happened today. So, Mr. Before we heat the room up too much,
It's
shall
really
we
cold in here.
Well, we've got the heat smart guy coming right now.
Can we have a little bit, tiny bit warmer?
As long as you don't use wet wood.
I think Mrs. Lambert would agree with me.
Yeah, I am cold.
Freezing to death.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Look,
Muskets.
No.
Oh, you've given all the blankets away.
They're gone. Okay, we're getting out of shape, guys. Here we go. We've got the guys working the technology. Yeah, and I'll hand over to Ms. Lambert to introduce us, please.